You do have a lot on your plate. You are constantly asked to give more, do more, be more, plan for more. And people always want your help, and they never seem to be shy about asking for it. In fact, you have so many plates wobbling, it's hard to understand how it's all going to get done each week. And I'm sure you can relate to this. It's probably got to the point where you have to choose who you're going to disappoint instead of who you want to delight. So what can we do about this, if a solution even exists at all? Hi, my name is Sean Summercamp, and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. Let's start with a foundational, but maybe challenging truth. Overwhelm comes when we think everything has the same level of importance. It doesn't. It can't. Choices are going to be required. And it's probably time to accept the fact that you're going to disappoint people in this wonderful life we live. We can't please everybody. The more responsibility we have professionally, the more important it becomes to master prioritization. And this is way more than just setting daily or weekly priorities. It means literally reprioritizing multiple times a day, on the fly. And the great news is, this not only becomes possible, it becomes second nature when we use a repeatable methodology. And I don't mean the methodology of creating a to-do list. I mean in a way that predictably maximizes your effectiveness as a leader. And when we keep practicing this framework on how to put first things first, we're not only going to alleviate stress from our lives, we're not going to be that worker bee, remember from the other video, we'll be available to others in a more profound way, which is ultimately what we want. So one method I'm going to share with you today, I have assembled over time, and I call it the R.E.P.S methodology, R.E.P.S. So think of it like this. In the world of fitness, we lift heavier weights with fewer repetitions when we want to build muscle mass and strength. We lift lighter weights with way more repetitions if we want to build leaner, more efficient muscles. So in order to grow professionally in a nimble and accelerated way, using weightlifting as a parallel, we want to do more reps with lighter weight. We don't want to be the heavy lifter that's carrying the massive load all the time. Those types of leaders are literally just given more and more to carry. They get stuck in one role and find it very challenging to get out of that role. And they don't really learn how to adapt quickly to cultural change. Using the R.E.P.S methodology will help keep us flexible. Many of you have probably had executive leaders change out once every 2 or 3 years. We want to stay nimble and flexible to adjust quickly and adapt to change. With this in mind, R.E.P.S stands for relationship, effort, profitability, and sustainability. It's an order of importance mindset. So what I mean is, think of your activities in your priority list, your to-do list, in terms of these 4 criteria. If the activity on your list scores high in all 4 criteria, you want to put it as number 1 or number 2. If it only scores high in 1 or 2 of the criteria, maybe keep it in the middle of the pack. And if it scores low in all 4 criteria, move it to the very bottom and put it off for a period of time, or maybe even delegate it to someone else. Let's go over what each of the categories are in more detail. It'll be brief, but it'll be enough to give you an idea. The R in R.E.P.S stands for relationship. Sometimes you have an action on your list that will have a very direct impact on an important relationship. Maybe it's one of your largest customers. Maybe a senior executive in your company came to you and gave you an action item to do. It may even be a colleague that you've blown off for too long a period of time and the relationship is kind of at a breaking point. Or maybe a supporter in your career that wants to see you succeed and you want to keep nurturing that relationship. Whatever your task is, consider the relationship that the outcome is connected to. Activities tied to important relationships will receive a higher priority on your list. And no, this is not favoritism, it's really just about being shrewd. Okay, the E in R.E.P.S stands for effort. And what I mean by this is kind of twofold: level of effort and level of impact. Some actions in our priority list can be considered quick wins or low-hanging fruit. What that means is basically they score very low on the level of effort, but very high on impact. So that is a quick win. Then we have those tasks that score very high on the level of effort and very high on impact. We call those major projects. Even though they have a high level of impact, the effort means you're going to have a lot more activities that take priority over them. For those major projects, you can break them down into smaller milestones and then redivide those milestones into this effort impact matrix. Then you have the low level of effort, low impact criteria. Those we call fill-ins. Only do these when you have extra time. You're never going to have extra time, so you want to get rid of them. And finally, if you have something that's a very high level of effort and a very low impact, that is considered a hard slog. Whatever you do, don't waste your time on those. Get them off your plate, reassign them, or make a recommendation to just kind of abandon it. It's going to do nothing but consume all of your resources and not do anything for you or the company. The P in R.E.P.S stands for profitability. The higher up the chain of command you go, the more important certain numbers are going to become. And the big one, of course, is profitability. If your company stops being profitable, the doors close. So think of your to-do list, prioritizing it in terms of the profitability the task is connected to. If the action is tied to a large profit, whether that's revenue or cost, right? Because if you manage cost, you increase your margin, make that a higher priority. And remember, no matter which department you work for, whether it's a profit center or a cost center, everything you do is somehow connected to the bottom line. It just is. So we want to prioritize those efforts that have the biggest impact on moving that needle. Okay, the S in R.E.P.S stands for sustainability. Now, this is a little bit tricky. What I mean when I say sustainability is not whether or not you can sustain the effort for a long period of time, but whether or not the effort is going to be repeated again and again in the future by you or somebody else. If you have an item on your list that is bound to be on someone else's list in the future or again yours, make it a priority to do this very well and document it. And in this way, you can actually automate it. When you automate it, you are leveraging savings because you know something's going to be asked again of someone else, the same task. You're going to make it much easier for them or for you the next time it's asked. So for example, let's say you're tasked with identifying potential customers with a potentially large revenue stake for the least amount of risk. As you're developing a process for determining how to find these types of customers quickly, you want to document it. Create a checklist for how you arrive at your recommendation. We refer to these as a go, no-go recommendation or a no-bid recommendation, a checklist, so that when someone else goes to do this, identify customers for future revenue opportunity with low risk, they can pull out your checklist. You have then saved a lot of time for yourself and others in the future. This 4-part framework is the R.E.P.S methodology. Use it to determine what gets most of your attention and what gets none or little of your attention. Everything can't have the same level of importance. If it does, you're going to lose your mind. So try out this methodology on your to-do list that you have right now. See how the prioritization changes when you consider these 4 factors: relationship, effort, profitability, and sustainability, in that order. And keep R.E.P.S handy. I recommend putting it in your calendar for 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunchtime, and then 10 minutes at the end of the day to just reprioritize what you're working on, again, based on these 4. The more often you practice it, the more second nature this becomes. And watch how this is going to affect your overall efficiency and performance. And of course, keep God at the forefront. Consider Proverbs 16:3. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for 2 new videos each week. Tell me in the comments below about your career situation and I'll make a video for you with a shout out. You can also become a member at motivationeer.com. Your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.